Hey Crocker, it's Miss Fairchild, and I just want to take a moment to explain Crocker's community service program to you. So, you may know that every year we ask students to volunteer hours to help out our community. It makes us people of good character, and that's one of Hillsborough's essential outcomes. So, I'm Miss Fairchild, and I'm in room 15, and you can always come see me or email me about community service, but most students get their information from the Buzz and from HTV and from going down to the Community Service Bulletin Board and seeing all the events that we post there. It's not a mandatory program, but we strongly encourage that all students participate. And this is what we were expecting. Sixth graders, 10 hours of community service a year is about 1 hour a month. So that's not a lot. But by seventh grade, we're expecting that you get up to 15 hours of community service or more in your school year. Eighth graders, we're hoping that you contribute 20 hours each for the eighth grade school year. You can even apply for a presidential award if you have 50 hours or more, and there's a whole web page about that under community service. So as I mentioned, it's encouraged but not mandatory, but most students do volunteer during the school year at their own events or at events that we advertise right here at Crocker. Altogether, about 4,000 hours of community service are performed by Crocker students, and you get an award at the end of the school year in your homeroom or advisory room. And that shows high schools that you are a very well-rounded and very organized and committed student. So how do you find out about community service? Well, the first thing I'd suggest is going down to the exterior wall of the MPR, and as you head to the courtyard, you'll see our big community service bulletin board where we're always posting the most current events and volunteer opportunities at North and West and South, Glide Church in San Francisco, the Harvest Garden, and lots of other ways to accumulate your community service hours. You can also go to the Crocker webpage. If you click under Students, just right here, it'll open to a page that looks like this. And once you're there, you can click on Community Service, and one of the buttons here will say Log Your Hours. And it's just a Google form, so you fill out your name, any teacher in your same grade, the date of the event that you volunteered, how many hours you were there, and what you did there. And then hit Save. And you should be also able at any time during the year to click on the tab that allows you to see how many hours you have logged already. And this is the only way that you get your certificate at the end of the school year. So your hours must be logged online, and all hours for the entire school year must be logged before the last Friday in May. We can't make any exceptions to that because that's when we print the certificates. So don't be late. So there's also a whole handbook about community service. It's on the webpage, and you can open the PDF and read all about the ways to log your hours, to go find hours, and then how to apply for different awards. And if you're an eighth grader, there's a whole award just for community service, and it's called the Janet Chun Award, and it's named after our former president, Mrs. Chun. You can also hear lots of events on the Buzz and on HTV. We have HTV updates every Wednesday, and community service representatives and other students with great volunteer ideas go on to HTV and share them with the classes. And hopefully there's a sign-up sheet where you can get involved with the things that we're advertising on HTV every Wednesday. If you are a community service rep, in other words, you volunteer at the beginning of the school year in your advisory or homeroom, then you have to attend one meeting every month. It's always on a Thursday, always on a minimum day, and that's where we share ideas. And then you go back into your homeroom the following day on Friday, and you share all the updates, whatever drives or collections that we have, any cookie drives or any visits to the shelters. And if you're a community service rep, you get 15 hours of community service just for attending all the meetings and being the representative for your classroom. So community service events take place at places around Hillsborough, like the Fun Run and the Memorial Day Parade, the Light Up the Town ceremony, and then our gardening events at Harvest Garden every second and fourth Sunday afternoons. But there's also events at West and North and South School, like bingo and potlucks and book sales. And then there's also events that happen outside of the school, and those are often at savesfbay.org for beach cleanups. Also, Pacifica Beach Coalition always needs volunteers, and other events too, like Glide Memorial to serve homeless people lunch, and then also events that happen at Shelter Network. Here's just a few quick pictures of students giving out milk and cookies to the homeless in San Francisco, making animal stockings for homeless dogs during the holidays. This is our collection process for all of the treats and toys for homeless animals. And we also make holiday packages for the soldiers that are deployed in Afghanistan. Here's students packing up the care boxes and shipping them off to the helipad to drop them over the Afghanistan camps. Save SF Bay always needs people to help with planting and also weeding, and we usually have one event per month. We also do drives like Halloween costumes for homeless children and shoe drives for Samaritan House. There's always a bake sale or two a year, and those funds raised usually go to a campaign or a fund that students have promoted, and we always vote on those in the community service meetings. If you don't have time to volunteer after your busy day at school and sports and music, you can always, in the privacy of your own home, record your voice on vocalid.co for someone who uses an assistive speaking device, and they would have their voice paired with your voice to make a more natural and human sounding voice. You'd be surprised how many people lose the ability to speak, and by you banking your voice, by reading aloud the words on the screen, that makes it possible for people who've lost the ability to speak on their own to borrow your voice to be able to speak like someone their same gender and their same age. When you do get your final certificate of completion, just make a copy for me or take a screenshot and email it to me and bank your hours on the community service webpage for the entire 17 hours of recording time. We have had a long relationship with First Step. It's one of the shelters of Shelter Network, and we often have bingo games and set up libraries, repair tricycles and bikes, and also organize theme parties like a Halloween party or a Valentine's party for the children there. So those usually occur about 3 times a year, and they will be shared with you on HTV and the Buzz. Thanks so much, Crocker, for listening. And if you have any questions, ask your community service rep or come straight to me, and I'll help as much as I can.